if the domain of this function here is this number, say find the range. Now what I mean by that here is it's very important to understand the meaning of the range from this perspective. You must know some of your charges before you do whatever you want to do in any way or in any country. Now what I mean by that is assuming you take a -2, so you borrow an amount of £2, $2 irrespective of your country, wherever you are watching me from. So you take a negative from that is a $2 or £2 credit using your credit card. You are going to pay, assuming you are going to pay some charges on that. Is that okay? So how much charge are you going to take, or are you going to pay if you're able to take £2 here, £1? You did not take any pound for sure. Once you're a citizen, it's your responsibility and obligation for you to pay taxes for in order for the government to use that money to develop the country. Now, these are your money that you are taking. So this is the system. So the government system, this is the policy, the lay down policy that says that any amount that you take, this is the charge. Using this system here, or this machine here, is going to help us to determine how much charge you must pay at the end or by the close of the day. So how do you do that? It's very, very simple. So any charges that, so the meaning of the range here is that any charges that you pay is what we are calling the range. So if you don't take any this money, how are you going to have the charges? So that one is not part of the range. So let's stick to the end of the video and see how to list all the ranges relating to this information here. This is the system. So this guy takes a -2. In order for us to find the charges that you are going to pay by the close of the day is by taking this your -2 here, right? The amount that you borrow, which is the £2, into the system and determine how much you pay by the close of the day. So this is what we have. Okay, let me change my pen here. So we have -2. This is what we take. Let's plug that into the system. So by sure, this is the system that we are giving, s² + 1, right? So taking this -2, plug that into this system, meaning that you have a -2, everything squared plus 1. Remember, because this is a negative, you have to make sure that you put that into a bracket in order to avoid any mathematical error, right? So here we have -2 squared, that should be 4, and then plus 1. So this is equal to 5, right? So how much tax are you going to pay if we take a £2 on credit? So we are going to pay some, is that £5? Maybe now, nobody knows. Maybe some years later the government indirectly, right, indirectly will deduct you that amount, right? So who knows? So let me hear from you wherever you are watching me from. Should the government indirectly take this tax from you? Okay, now picking this guy here, so the second guy, that's a -1 here. Take the -1 and plug that into the system for us to determine how much this guy pays on tax. So let's take a -1 and plug that into the system. We have a -1 into that system. I believe some of you know how to do this. And the whole idea is the meaning of a range, right? So here we have a -1 squared, that is 1 plus 1, everything is equal to 2, right? So let's do it for all these things, so that in order for us to determine, why don't you pause the video and just give it a try and come back and watch the definition or the range by the end of your calculation. If you are new here, don't hesitate to subscribe to our channel, or maybe comment down below if you have any problem. But if you're already on this channel and you are gaining some value from this video, just give us a thumbs up. And then once again, it's very, very important, make sure that you comment in the comment section below if you have any issue, right? So now, according to my calculation here, this is what we are calling the range. So any answer that you get after substitute these values into the function, right? So plugging this amount here into the government system, the charges that you get at the end are what we are calling the range. First we had 5, this 5 here, we had 2. According to my calculation here, I had 1, and then I have another 2 here, and then as well as 5, right? So these are the charges that we had after plugging this 5. Look at them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For sure, this is what we had after plugging these values into this system here. Now pay very close attention. So for for mathematical sake, in order for you to write the range here, you see this guy here, this guy are being repeated here. So what we are going to do here is the range that is 5, 2, and then 1. Is that okay? If you have any question relating to this, once again, make sure that you comment in the comment section below for help. Now, let's look at another important question here. So this is what in a diagram form. So this is a diagram of what expenses, and then this is the charges, right? So in other words, that should be the tax, right? So the tax that or the taxes that you are going to pay by the close of the day. You see, if this set contains the expenses that you made, and then this is the charges, for a very clear purpose, what is the meaning of the range? If you know the meaning of the range, you should be able to answer this question here. It's okay. You can only have a range here if this guy here has an outcome, right? So your expenses here must incur or must have what a charges. Without expenses, you are not going to have a charges, right? So this -3, meaning that you spend a $3 or £3 on credit, right? That's the meaning of the negative here. So what will be the charges in the long run? So look at the arrow here. So the charges here is going to be 21. Is that okay? So the charge here is going to be 21 here. So 21 here. So what about -2? So -2, you are going to have what? 11. It's okay. 0. If you don't spend any money, so still you have to pay some taxes since you are a citizen. So if you spend nothing, you are going to pay what? £5 or $5 or sort in terms of a charge. Right? So this guy here, this guy, and then this -2 and then 0 here are not going to be part of what the ranges. The question here is why. So if you know this why, make sure that you give me your answer in the comment section below, right? So that tells me that you are participating. You clearly understand the meaning of a range. So why are we saying that this guy, these 3 guys here, are not the range? So mathematically, what you do is that, so in terms of x and y, if I take these expenses away, so we can bring this one to be x, and then for sure that's something that you already know, and then this one should be our y. So meaning that we are taking the element from what? From the x here, and then you pull that inside the machine, and then determine what our outcome or our charges. So this is the function that is conveying this thing here from here. You pick this and plug that into the function, and then have the outcome. Here we are not giving the function because we already have the outcome of the results here. That is why the function is not listed. So pay a very close attention to what this thing here is very important. So if you have been asked to determine the rule of this mapping here, right? So that is what you call a mapping. So if you have been asked to determine the rule of this particular information, what do you think would be the rule here? Right? So 2 questions for you. Why are we saying that these guys here are not part of the range? Right? And then how can you determine the rule of this function? Let me hear from you in the comment section below.